Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are heading back in time to a place so unbelievably massive it took 30 different pharaohs over 2,000 years to build. We're talking about the incredible temple complex of Karnak.
What you're looking at is Karnak, in modern-day Luxor, Egypt. This place is so vast, it's less like a single building and more like a city of temples, built not by one ruler, but by generation after generation of them.
So you have to ask, right? How on earth did one temple complex take almost 2,000 years to build? Well, the story of Karnak isn't just about its staggering size. It's about the unbelievable amount of time it was under construction.
Okay, here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with why this spot was so sacred. Then we'll dive into the different gods worshipped there, trace that epic 2,000-year construction project, uncover the engineering secrets of its giant structures, and finally, look at how this wonder was lost and then found again. Let's jump in.
First things first, let's really get a handle on why this specific place was so important to the ancient Egyptians.
You know, to the ancient Egyptians, this place wasn't even called Karnak. To them, it was Ipet Isut, which means the most selected of places. Think about that. For them, this was the earthly home of their most powerful gods, Amun, his wife Mut, and their son Khonsu. It was literally the center of their universe.
And that importance hasn't faded one bit. To this day, it is the second most visited historical site in all of Egypt, right behind the pyramids at Giza.
And of course, in 1979, it got the recognition it deserves when UNESCO named it a World Heritage Site, basically saying this place is a treasure for all of humanity.
All right, so what is Karnak exactly? Because it's way more than just one single temple.
Yeah, take a look at this map. Karnak isn't a single building at all. It's this huge, sprawling complex of sanctuaries, chapels, and these massive gateways called pylons, all dedicated to different gods.
It's broken down into 4 main parts, but honestly, most visitors only ever see the biggest one by far, the precinct of Amun-Re.
Okay, let's get to the really wild part. The thing that makes Karnak so different from pretty much everything else, that unbelievable construction timeline.
This quote really hits the nail on the head. See, unlike a pyramid, which was a monument for one single pharaoh, Karnak was this continuous living project. We're talking about 30 different pharaohs, and each one wanted to add their own piece, to outdo the last guy, to leave their mark on the home of the gods.
And look at this timeline. It's just mind-boggling. It starts way back in the Middle Kingdom, around 2000 BC, and just keeps going, all the way to the Ptolemaic period, Cleopatra's family, right before the Romans showed up and took over.
So when you build something for that long, you're bound to pull off some pretty amazing feats of engineering. And nowhere is that more obvious than in one absolutely incredible hall.
This is the Great Hypostyle Hall. We're talking 5,000 square meters filled with 134 gigantic columns. And get this, the 12 columns down the center, they tower over 20 meters high. That's almost 70 feet. It's like walking through a forest of stone.
Okay, now try to wrap your head around this. The giant stone blocks, the lintels, that sit on top of those columns, they weigh an estimated 70 tons each. That's like lifting a modern battle tank more than 6 stories into the air, all without modern cranes. How did they do it?
Well, that is the big question, isn't it? And archaeologists basically have 2 main theories. One suggests they used a complex system of massive levers to just inch the stones up little by little. The other theory is that they built these enormous ramps out of sand and mud brick and literally dragged the stones into place.
But after all those centuries of construction and worship, Karnak's story takes a really dramatic turn. It pretty much fell silent and disappeared into ruin.
Yeah, by 356 AD, the Roman Empire was cracking down on pagan temples, and Karnak was mostly abandoned. It just fell into ruin. People even started building Christian churches right in the middle of it all.
For hundreds of years, the Western world basically forgot it existed. It was only slowly, piece by piece, that European explorers started to stumble upon it and figure out what they were looking at, starting way back in the late 1500s.
And the work these early Egyptologists did was just groundbreaking. I mean, they painstakingly copied and translated all these hieroglyphs. They were basically unlocking stories that had been silent for centuries, letting the temple itself tell its own history again.
So here's what you should really take away from all this. Karnak isn't just a pile of cool-looking ruins. It's a history book written in stone. It's a 2,000-year-long story about one civilization's power, its beliefs,
and its absolutely mind-blowing ingenuity.
When you look at it today, it's just this incredible standing record of human ambition on a scale that is almost impossible to fully comprehend.
And that really leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? If one single monument can tell a story that spans 2,000 years, what are our buildings, our structures, going to say about us way, way off in the distant future?